Well, hello there, and this episode is really going to hit home for you if you've ever felt like your business or your life is burning you out, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, or even spiritually. And this is a topic that is close to my heart. I've had to do a lot of work on this for myself. And it's also a pattern that I see a lot in very heart-centered, purpose-driven business owners, coaches, therapists, leaders, and especially those who are used to being the strong one, the capable one, the responsible one. And this is the problem. What happens is you become the battery. Now, yes, we're talking about energy, right? We're talking about energy. And if you know anything about energy, if you've got a battery has a limited amount of energy in it. And if all you do is draw from that battery, well, it will go flat. And this is something that people tend to do is they treat themselves as a battery and they just let other people draw from them. So if you're supplying the energy to everybody around you, including your clients, your business, your team, your relationships, and you're wondering why you feel so flat, this is why. So let's unpack it. So being the battery, as I put it, is like you're taking the role of source. And there is, when I'm talking about source, as humans, we are all spiritual beings and we are connected to source and energy that is much greater than just what you generate in your body. Okay, this is not woo woo, it's the truth. It's why you feel different according to what people you're around. Some people will feel energizing, some people will feel draining. That's energy, my friend, and that's undeniable. Everybody knows it. Okay, so if you're being the battery, you're acting as if you are a lone source of energy, and instead of receiving energy in a healthy flow, you're just letting it be depleted from you. So you might be holding the structure of your business as well as the emotional tone of every space that you walk into. And if you're a coach and a cheerleader and the regulator and the safety net of all the environments that you're in, that gets very draining. Now, this often comes from childhood trauma. If you were made to be the responsible one, or your parents had emotional dysfunction, or whatever other kind of, maybe they weren't around, maybe you had some neglect, you were always there being the one having to sort things out, then you can get caught up as being the caretaker. And this is very common, might I say, for people who are coaches and therapists. It is no surprise that you take on a career that is around supporting other people, if that's what your experience you've had as a child. And so it's not all a bad thing. Anything that we've experienced has its positive aspects as well as its negative aspects. And we just want to get rid of the negative ones so that we can enhance the positive ones and feel really energized. So if you are running programs for people that they're not fully showing up for, but you keep trying to motivate them, that will drain you. If you're overcompensating for clients who aren't ready to take responsibility for themselves, that will drain you. If you're doing the thinking for other people, that will drain you, right? If you're picking up the slack in your relationships, that will drain you. And the reason why all of these things become so exhausting is because the energy is only flowing one way, and that is out of you. And so you're becoming the battery instead of the channel. Okay, so when you're the battery, like I said, there's just energy flowing out. And but what you want to be is more of a conduit where you receive just as much, if not more, than what you give out. Right? This is really important. And if we don't do this in business, well, then your business is going to decline. Okay, because if you don't have energy, your business won't have energy either, because your business is probably part of the reason why your battery is drained. So the truth is, you need to be okay with receiving just as much input into your system, if not more, than the output that you're giving. Okay, now this is really important, because when we're talking about overflow means you're receiving more than you need, and you have to decide that that's okay with you. And there are definitely ways that you can do this when we're smart, especially in business, because what often happens is people go, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm getting some inputs. I do some self-care, and those things might help, but real inputs are the energy and attention you receive from others, right? The way that other people pour back into you, right? So that means in a client relationship, you're supporting a client, they're showing up and being responsive to you. Okay, if you've ever dragged a client along, come on, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, and they keep telling you the same bloody story over and over again, it's very draining, right? Don't put yourself in that position. You set the standard of what's expected. It's the same with your relationships. If you're not receiving energy from a relationship, and this could be your partner or friends or children, could be your team or your clients, then you need to get really good at recognizing, when do I feel like this, they're just drawing from me, and put a boundary in place. Okay, and you need to put a boundary in a place that stops people from withdrawing from you before you get drained. Just because you have some energy in your tank does not mean that somebody else is entitled to it, right? They need to be putting into you just as much. So this could even mean, for example, if you're working with a team, that your team don't just come and dump their problems on you, that they've got to do some thinking for themselves, right? This is really important. So there's a really great guy, the book that I called Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time, and he talks about the 1-3-1 method. And he says, train your team that when they come to you, they've got to have one question about what the actual problem is. They actually need to know what the problem is, and then what their question is. They got to have thought of 3 possible solutions that they think would be good solutions, and then they give you, out of those 3, which one they think is the best, right? That is someone putting energy back into your conversation, not just dumping a problem on you and asking you to solve it. Okay, these are the types of things. So what we've got to really be doing is making sure we're teaching people how to treat us. Okay, because the more that you are just the giver, the more you'll attract people who want to take. Okay, so you need to learn to be able to pull back from people who aren't giving to you, right? And this is very masculine and feminine energy, because when you're giving all the time, it's masculine energy. You have to be able to receive, right? When you receive, you allow people to give back to you, or if you're giving and they're not giving back to you, you pull back, and then you pull back. That's more feminine. They will be drawn to step towards you. Okay, it's really important. You'll notice this, especially in a lot of unhealthy relationships where someone's avoidant, or they pull back, or, don't respond or do all these things. They're actually trying to control the energy, because you have to have your attention and focus on them, going, well, what's wrong with them? Why haven't they called me back? What have I done wrong? Why aren't they responding? You need to pull back, right? Trump them at their own game. So we've got to make sure that you're absolutely not depleting your energy to levels that aren't healthy for you. Okay, so what will often happen with people who are really good givers will only get fed up with giving when they absolutely can't give anymore, and they're sick, or they're tired, or they're frustrated, or they're fed up. You don't need to get to that point. Don't let that be your set point. right? You don't need to see burnout as proof of you giving everything that you could or your commitment to care. There's nothing that says that you have to give every spare piece of resourceful energy that you have, right? You're going to set the set point higher of where you go. No, this is how much I need, right? It's like a bank account. You don't just give everybody away all your money and then complain about not being able to pay your bills, right? You know what you need and you know what then is overflow, and it's from the overflow that you can serve other people. And the only way that you can be an overflow is if you are regularly receiving, right? Whether that's time, energy, attention, money, whatever that is, you need to be receiving so that you're in overflow. And you need to build a business as well as a life where you have reserves in your tank all the time. Okay, because you never know when you might need them. And if your baseline is burnout, then your business isn't sustainable, no matter how capable you are. So this is the thing we need to be really mindful for, is that burnout isn't always about how much you're doing. And I was talking to someone just recently, actually, who was telling me about they were having trouble with like sleep and, things just but, and they're saying, well, and I'm working less, I have this day off and this day off, right? But it's really interesting because it's not just about how much you're doing, it's the quality of what you're doing, whether it's congruent with your values, right? Your actual energy and your actual role. And it's also to do with how much energy you're outsourcing to other people. Okay, many people are trying to fix burnout with holidays and time blocking and better scheduling, right? Which are all good things that can help. But if you're still operating as the battery, right, you're still the one giving to others all the time, then you're going to end up feeling flat, right? You might fill up the battery, you might pull back and like top your battery up, which is great. But then if you go back to just giving, it's going to go flat again. And that's a cycle that you don't want to be in, right? This is where we need to start being really aware of this energetic exchange. And this is where we need to really understand masculine and feminine energy and where energy is leaking. And thinking about the structure and the flow of energy. Because the masculine energy, everyone has inside themselves masculine and feminine energy, and your masculine energy is what gives you the capacity to create boundaries, to make decisions, and to show up consistently. Now, if you aren't doing that in a healthy way, then you're going to be draining energy. And your feminine energy is a space of magnetism and drawing things in and intuition and creativity and receiving. Okay, receiving is the feminine thing. I was watching a really interesting video the other day with a lady that I follow who makes multiple $1 million a year. She's quite young. I think she maybe around her 30s. Maria Wentz, her name. And she was having a conversation about how making a lot of money is one of the most feminine things that you can do. Because the truth is, when you have a lot of money, that means you've got the ability to relax and to do any kind of self-care that you wish, to make decisions that support yourself, and that you get to be in this space of freedom. Okay, so receiving is a very important part of the feminine, right? Everyone gets caught up in, oh, nurturing is feminine. No, not if you're just giving out energy all the time. That's not feminine at all. Feminine is receiving. Okay, so if we've got these energies out of balance, then you're going to be wide open and you'll absorb things that aren't yours to absorb. You'll give things that aren't your responsibility to give. And if you're too controlling, or you might be too rigid and reactive and then try to control outcomes, that'll just burn up your energy as well. So burnout will show up when your feminine energy is overwhelmed or unsupported, or your masculine energy is overworked and fragile. Okay, so we really need to get this balance quite right, because either way, we end up losing and leaking energy, right? And it's like the battery, the energy leaks out, then, we're starting to feel really flat and head towards burnout. And that's when your business can start feeling like a black hole, right? Instead of the place that fills you up. This is why it's so important to have really clear structure and boundaries in business. Structure, systems, processes, that's all the masculine part of your business that then creates a space that you can receive. That feels safe to receive money, clients, attention, all of those kinds of things. And so I really want you to think about this, right? Where might you be supplying energy? Where might you be acting like the battery pack and just giving, instead of being in the frequency of flow, right? Giving and receiving. So think about this. Where are you holding it together for other people? Are you chasing leads and chasing clients rather than attracting the aligned ones? Because attraction is feminine energy, right? Are you coaching clients and putting more effort into your clients and coaching harder than what your clients are willing to take responsibility for? That's draining. I've done a lot of that in the past, but never again. And in fact, now when people come to work with me, if I think there's even a hint of likelihood that they're going to try to make me responsible and drain my energy, I get very, very clear about what my expectations are for them to be able to step into a coaching space with me. I'm very clear about that. And so should you be, because I can tell you what, the value that you provide holding space for someone and helping them transform is off the charts. And if anyone dares come in that and try to drain you in that process, they don't get that privilege. Bye-bye. See you later. Find someone else who hasn't learned that lesson yet. So, really important, you to have that expectation that your clients are going to be putting just as amount of energy in to the transformation that they receive as you are, more, right? They're going to pay you. They're going to pay you well. They're going to show up. And another place that this is one that I see, like I said, for people, especially people who are very heart-centered, are you managing the emotion and the lives of the adults in your family? Okay, very clearly I'm saying adults in your family, because if you've got children and they're young children, yes, you're going to be more responsible for managing their lives and their emotions. Still, there's boundaries around that as well. But I'm talking about adults, because this is where I see it. People with adult children, right? Adult children who are, forever asking to borrow money, who are still living at home, who aren't, pulling their weight around the house, who are, just expecting you to drop everything. And it's not all the kids' fault, mind you. This is something that you've trained them to do. Adults, right? Children over 21 aren't children anymore. They're adults. They need to take responsibility for managing their own emotions, for managing their own lives. Yes, you can help them and support them, of course, but you can't do it for them. You just end up creating adult children, right? God knows we don't need more of those in the world. Your partner is an adult. Okay, your partner does not need you to organize everything for them. They're an adult. They can take responsibility for showing up for what is their responsibility. And if they're in a relationship with you and you have a house and you've got a business and they've got a job, guess what? You've both got responsibilities and they need to show up, right? You don't want to be in a relationship where one person manages the whole house and all of the worries and all of the concerns and the whole life organizing, while the other person just sits there and be's rude. Right? I've been there as well. Don't you worry. This is what I say. All these lessons I've come from lived experience. Because the thing is, when we are trained as children to be the caretakers for other people's needs and other people's emotions, we tend to grow up and become adults who do the same thing, right? So it could even, when I talk about adults in your family, it could even be your parents. I see a lot more of this now as well, where parents, and sometimes parents do get older into a place where maybe their health isn't so great, or whatever that might be, does not mean that you have to be their caretaker. All right, I hear this quite a lot as well, where people tell me about their aging parents who are highly resistant to getting any help, but then expecting their children to fulfill the role of caretaker for them. That's not your responsibility, right? It's not your responsibility if your parents haven't sought out their life in a way that means that they're living how they want to live in old age. That's not your responsibility, right? You can definitely help people as much as you want to help, but make sure it's not draining your energy, that they're giving back in some way, that they have just as much concern about you, that they value you, right? People will have all the kinds of excuses in the world why they are the victim and why they need your help. That still does not make it your responsibility, and especially not if it drains you. Okay, you don't have to do that. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for somebody else who doesn't want to take responsibility for themselves, because it's exhausting and it's not sustainable. And the really important thing to know here is that you're not serving anybody by depleting yourself. This is the thing. When you're depleting yourself, you are taking responsibility for other people's stuff. You are stopping them from learning the lessons that they need to learn. I said it, right? You're enabling them. Allow them to suffer. Allow them to feel the tension of their own decisions. That's how people learn and grow. Okay, so this is a very powerful thing. Once you see the patterns, you can shift them, right? You can shift them. So how do you stop being the battery? Well, there's a few things that you can do that have helped me and my clients. And one of them is that you just pull back your energy, right? You pull back your energy and you literally say to yourself, I call all of my energy back to me. Okay, you can do this before sessions and after sessions. You can do it after uncomfortable conversations. There is a process that I do with my clients that is actually a ancient Hawaiian process where you actually can sever the cords that connect you, the energetic cords that connect you and other people that you have been connected to throughout your life, not just now. It's a very powerful process. That's a really good thing to do. And if you work with a lot of people, if you're a body worker, if you're a coach, or you just come into contact with a lot of people, it's a really good idea that you have some kind of energetic practice where you disconnect from all of those people that you get connected to. Really important. Recall your energy back. Have really clear boundaries as well, right? Not just time-based boundaries. Time-based boundaries are really important. You can say no to someone just because you want to sit on the couch, right? You can say no to someone, I'm not available because you want to sit on the couch. That's the thing. You're allowed to do that. Okay, you don't have to be busy to have a reason not to do something with somebody. But you also want to have energetic boundaries, right? Energetic boundaries are something that sometimes is harder to language or understand what it is, but it's when you're talking to someone and the energy is all on them. So if someone only is concerned about how they feel, what their problems are, what they need, right? And they are not addressing any of your energetic needs, it will feel draining, and you can put boundaries in with those people. Okay? You don't have to sit and listen to someone whinge and moan and complain. You don't have to stand around and pay attention to someone who just whinges about all of their problems. You don't have to do that. Energetically, you don't have to explain yourself for not carrying others' emotions. Okay, there's a lot of dumpers and vampires out there when it comes to energy. Just withdraw yourself, right? Withdraw yourself. It's completely okay. And also be really willing to let other people hold their own tension. This is the key thing, right? This is what I see with people, is that if as a child you were conditioned to focus on other people's discomfort and help other people resolve discomfort, and no one paid attention to your discomfort, then you will naturally try to relieve other people of their discomfort without asking for anything in return. Okay? And this is the thing. Other people's discomfort is not your responsibility. Your clients can wrestle with their own resistance and feel that. It's the pain of feeling that will motivate them. Okay? Your parents, your children, your partner, they can all feel some discomfort. It's not your job to manage that. It's not your job to resolve it for them. They can feel the discomfort of your boundaries. Still their responsibility to deal with that discomfort. It's not yours. And so a big part of this is really being able to shift your identity, right? Shift your identity, because you are not here to be the emotional support blanket for everyone, right? That's not your job. You might be very good at it. It might feel nice when people say, wow, that feels really good. But here's the thing, the energetic vampires won't tell you how good it was. They'll just keep telling you what other problem that they've got, right? You're here to hold a frequency, and that frequency is powerful, it's clean, and it's self-sourced. It is you making sure your needs are met. It's you realizing that you are valuable, and you're so goddamn valuable that people will train themselves to give to you to get access to you. They will, right? Don't think that there's a whole range of other people out there that are high quality that are just sitting there waiting for people to come along to drain their energy. No. It just doesn't happen like that. So you're valuable. Your energy is valuable. People will step up to get access to it. Okay? So this is the thing that I want you to take away from this. When you stop being the battery and allowing yourself to be drained, your business becomes a place that feeds you. You set this up for your business in a way that, okay, my business needs to be something that fills my cup. My relationships need to be something that fill my cup. Okay, and that becomes your alignment. That's where flow becomes, because when you do that and you allow yourself to be in overflow, then you've got energy to be very generous. You become very magnetic, but it only works when you're receiving and you're allowing yourself to be in overflow. And so that means you stop overfunctioning, you stop overgiving, you stop burning out, you stop attracting chaos. Oh, that's a good one, right? Because people in overflow do not entertain chaos because they know it drains them. And so that's when you can really start building something that's sustainable, right? Sustainable in money and time, as well as in energy and emotion. You get to be in that space of energetic alignment and flow and abundance, and where things just feel amazing. And that's what I want for you. So if this has spoken to you, I would love to hear from you. I'd love it when I get people message me or they email me and they tell me about what they got out of these episodes. So you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, shoot me a DM, send me an email, and share this with someone who needs it, because if you're listening to this and this has resonated with you, I can bet you know somebody else who needs to hear this. Share it with them. I do get a lot of feedback from people saying, oh my God, I shared that episode with my team, with my staff. Yeah, share it, share the love. People need to hear it, share it with them. And of course, if you are in business and you're a coach or practitioner, a therapist, a service provider, come and join Business Alchemy. This is where we do the deep work around energetics and really get you to be in a space where business feels easy, where your business supports you, where you get to step up as that powerful CEO of your business that people respect, that people know that they need to step up to get into your space. And that's when you attract clients that you love working with. They get amazing results. You love your life, you love your business, and everything works beautifully. And I'll pop a link under this episode as well. There's a training you can listen to called the Magnetic Business Matrix. There's a link in the show notes for that as well. Check it out. I share some really great information about this. And thanks for listening. Until next time.